Hey guys, I get asked quite often about how when I was going through a time when my heart was broken and my life just felt like it was just falling apart, what are some of the things that I needed to do to find healing and to also find myself able to forgive? I thought today I'd give you 5 practical ways that I found useful for me in finding healing and being able to move past brokenness and being able to move past having my heart broken. And these 5 things are not just with like relationships. They can be with friendships, they can be with colleagues. It's really across the board. They're helpful and hopefully helpful and useful tips on how to navigate hurt in relationships with others. So the first one is being willing and courageous enough to reach out for help and to do it early on. So you need to realize when you are broken and when you are hurt that you cannot do this by yourself. We've done a really great job over the last few years in advocacy for mental health and saying, you know what, if it's okay to not be okay, and you can reach out and say, I need help. And it goes the same with our relationships. Your marriage, dating, friendships, work relationships, whenever there is a rift, whenever there is brokenness, whenever there is pain, it is okay to say, I'm not okay, I need help, or we're not okay, we need help. And I suggest doing it early on. So I realized when I was going through a time where I was just completely broken and my heart had been completely broken, that I was just not in a good space and that my emotions were not good at that time. So I reached out and I got help from a lovely couple in our area, and I'm actually pretty good friends with them still. And they helped me walk through that process, moving from having my heart broken to the road to healing and being able to forgive. And so we need to be willing to reach out for help. Secondly, we need to realize that we are responsible for our own healing. Whatever has been done to us, whatever has been said, whatever pain someone else has inflicted on us, it is our responsibility for our own healing and our responsibility for our own health. So when we do take that step and say, I need help, you are taking responsibility for your own healing, right? One of the things that I also had to do in taking responsibility for my own healing is I had to remove social media from my phone, and I had to discipline myself to not go on it on my computer. Before social media and Facebook and Instagram and internet, before all of that was around, when we had broken hearts, when our heart was broken, when your boyfriend or your girlfriend broke up with you, what was the first thing that you would say? You would say, I can't go to this event. I can't go to this party. I can't go here because they may be there. And my heart right now is too broken to see them or to see that, right? Like we would step back from social events. We weren't in a place where we were good, right? And seeing them or spending time in a place where they were just didn't help our emotions and didn't help our heart. And so now we are in a new era where we have technology and we have social media. So we're not going to, those parties where we may see them at, but we are hopping online where we can see every picture, every post, every comment is right in front of us. And so when your heart is broken and you have a hard time processing what the person who has hurt you has done, it may mean that you may need to block some people. And that's okay. It's okay to block people. I have blocked people just because my heart was hurting and I just couldn't see what was on my screen. And it was okay to block people. I don't think I've ever permanently blocked someone or deleted someone from my Facebook or from my Instagram. But I have had moments where I've needed to block them, and that's fine. The reason I block 100% has to do with me and has to do with my heart. And if they have a problem with that, that's on them. Maybe they need to ask the question why they have a problem with you blocking them. Sometimes the best thing for you to do for your own heart and for your healing is to take some of those steps where you may need to block someone or you may need to take a step back from social media so you're not seeing everything that's going on that could potentially hurt your heart even further. And that's not permanent. You get to a point in your life where you are past the brokenness enough that seeing certain things doesn't reopen wounds or doesn't hurt you even further. And then, by all means, unblock them. Number 3, we need to be really careful with what we're putting inside of our thoughts and inside of our heart. And a lot of time that is done through what we watch and through what we hear, what we listen to. If you are going through a breakup and your heart is broken, then chick flicks, it's probably not the best thing to be watching during that time. Your Hallmark movies, might want to just tuck those away until you're feeling a little better, a little ways down the road. But for me, I'm not a huge movie and TV watcher, so that wasn't as big of a deal for me. The huge one for me was what I was listening to. And during that time, I had to be really careful with what I was allowing myself to listen to lyrically and also musically, because I find that music affects how you feel. It's not just the lyrics, but it's also the type of music, the genre of music as well. It's been proven that music affects our brain neurologically, and the connections that happen when we're listening to music affects how we think and how we feel. We don't have all the answers for how that works or why that works, but there is proven fact that music does affect us. And so we really need to be careful with what we're listening to. I found when I was going through a time in my life where I was just broken and my heart was broken, that I just couldn't listen to some of the music that I normally would be fine listening to. I would be okay listening to. And I just remember during that time, it was during the summer, and I was still, my emotions were still pretty broken. My heart was still pretty broken. And one of my favorite artists put out a new CD that summer. And I just remember I was so excited. I was going on a road trip and I was super excited to be able to listen to this new music that they had put out. And we got on the road trip. I put my headphones on and I got about 2 songs in and I realized that I just had to shut it off because the lyrics and the music, the way it was written, was just breaking my heart even further. And my emotions were just kind of everywhere. And so I had to just take that off and just put it away and, give it some time. And when my heart is in a better spot, then sure, I can take it out and I can enjoy that music again. They were singing about broken hearts, and when you're singing about broken hearts and you've got one yourself, it's just not a good combination. So we really need to be careful with what we're putting into our lives when we are going through a broken time, when we are feeling hurt. Number 4, we need to make sure that we are not responding and replying and speaking at times when our emotions are super high. And that takes a lot of getting to know yourself. So I will give you my example. It's because over the years I have gotten to know myself to a point where I know when my emotions are high. I know for myself that when I am feeling hurt, I cannot respond in the moment. I need time to gather my thoughts, and that takes some time. So if someone has messaged me or is talking to me in conversation, and they have said something that hurts me, or they have said something that hurt me in the past, and we're just kind of trying to dig that out and to deal with it, I can't respond right then. I need time to collect my thoughts. And so oftentimes, if it's conversation, if we're in person, a lot of times I'll have to say, I can't talk about this right now. I need time to collect my thoughts and what I'm thinking, and can we come back to this later, tomorrow? I think it's wise to sleep on your responses, and that's what I usually try to tell people. I'm like, if you need to respond to someone and you are hurt, then sleep on what you're responding to. Sleep on your response, because I promise you, when you wake up the next morning, you will have things in your response that you will want to change. So I can't respond in the moment. And the reason I can't is because I haven't had time to collect my thoughts. So my thoughts are everywhere and I am everywhere, and my emotions are way up here. Sometimes what comes out is just not said with the intent that I wanted to say it in. I am not a person who, wants to hurt someone else. It doesn't matter if you've hurt me. My intent is never to hurt back. And so when I'm responding in the moment, I will often be responding out of emotion, and I don't intend for it to hurt. So I have to remind myself not to respond in the moment. I also know that I cannot respond late at night. So any time past, 8:30, 9 o'clock, I am not well in conversation. So if I'm hurt, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, my thoughts are not clear because of this. And so if I'm responding at night, my response is also going to be high in emotion. The intent is not going to be what I intended it to be, and I am going to come off as being extremely hurt. More so than I'm just not, my head is not clear and I'm tired. So I need to remember I can't respond immediately. I need time to collect my thoughts, and then I can't respond late at night. So another thing that I do sometimes is I will write out my response, because I feel I respond better when it's written out and I know what I want my response to be, because I want to be honest, but I also want it to be gentle, and I want it to be, I don't want it to hurt the person, right? So oftentimes I will write out my response, and I will find a trusted friend that I know I can trust to be honest with me, and that I know that knows the situation, that knows what I'm going through, and knows, how the brokenness that I feel, and knows what I'm trying to say. And I'll have them read through my response. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that my response is honest, that it comes across clear that what I'm trying to say, but also that it's not unreasonable, and that it's gentle. Often I'll send it to a trusted friend, and they'll let me know, this sounded, probably not the way you wanted it to sound. Maybe you could reword it. And so I'll oftentimes reword my responses before I send them off. And I found that has been helpful. Number 5, make sure you have solid friends around you. When I go through times where I am hurting and I am broken, the thing that saves me the most are the people that I have around me, are my friends. And you want to make sure that you have friends who will sit with you in your brokenness, that they won't, give you advice, that they'll just, they'll let you cry, and that they'll sit and they'll say, you know what, this sucks, it really does suck, and I am hurting that you are hurting, and it's okay. It's okay to be broken right now. It's okay to hurt. You also want them to be encouraging, so that you're not sitting in that brokenness for a very long time. I appreciate that about my friends, is that when I am starting to re-dig up things that I had already let go, they remind me that, Diana, you already gave that up. You already said that that was done. And they help me to move on. You also want friends who stand up for you. So I don't want friends who are just gonna, maintain. I want friends who are going to help me grow, and I'm going to help them grow, right? As the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. You want friends who will sit there in your suffering with you, but you also want friends who will help you grow, and you want friends that will stand up for you. And those are the people that you need to surround yourself with. There's this quote from Grey's Anatomy, and I'm not a Grey's Anatomy watcher, but I love this quote. So I think it was Meredith, the character Meredith, is speaking to her best friend. This is how much I don't watch the show. I don't have a sweet clue who her best friend is. I know what she looks like, but I don't know what her friend is. So she says this to her. She says, I'm going to screw this up. Okay, this is not word for word. She says, you are my person. You are the one I call when I need to bury a body. And I'm not burying any bodies. I feel like I have a lot of friends in my life that I could call if I needed to bury a body. And what I love is that their husbands would likely bring the shovels. So I appreciate the friends that I do have in my life, because they not only sit with me, but they also encourage me, and they stretch me to be a better person. So those are the 5 things that I have found to be really helpful when I am trying to heal from brokenness. Making sure that I reach out for help, and knowing that it is okay to do so. Knowing that I am responsible for my own healing, and I need to do whatever it is that I need to do to help myself heal. Being careful of what I put into my life through what I hear and through what I watch. Knowing when my emotions are high and not responding in those moments. And finally, surrounding myself with people who I know love me and who know who I am as a person, know my character, know my integrity, who know who I am, who will encourage me and who will not let me sit in my pain for forever, and will also stand up for me. I am not perfect at this. Like, there are times that I respond in my pain and in my hurt immediately, and there are times when I respond late at night, and I know every single time I shouldn't, and I still do it sometimes. I also, like, there are times that I put on my music and I am angry in my music. So there, like, I'm not perfect with this. It's just a few things that I realized I need to remember, that when I'm broken, these are the things that I need to remember to do if I want to find healing, and if I want to move past this, and if I want to start the road of forgiveness and of forgiving someone who has caused hurt and has caused pain in my life and in my heart. And maybe they didn't even mean to. Maybe it's something that I'm feeling that they did not intend for it to happen. I still need to take responsibility for my healing and for my brokenness, and I need to take the steps towards healing.